The reason why a lot of people started watching anime instead of the Western stuff was because of entertainment. And while anime is not perfect, at least they are trying to entertain you, compared to the Western stuff when they are trying to push in ideology. In the last years, they do not care about entertainment anymore. I mean, how can you create an evil character that doesn't do anything evil? Even the good characters are actually bad. A good character can say something slightly offensive, by today's standards of course, and he can be considered evil. That's it, that's all you need to consider a character evil. This is the main reason why a lot of good characters became evil by the new standards. And the replacements for the new characters are very politically correct, mediocre trash. Now let's talk about Windbreaker Season 2. If you didn't see Season 1, I recommend it. It's a great anime. It's an anime about action, comedy, drama, and school stuff. Well, it's mostly about fighting and who is the strongest. Season 1 was awesome, and this is why I was interested in Season 2. And Season 2 also has a good start, with a lot of action and a lot of interesting characters. Until we reach episode 5. Nothing out of the ordinary because anime and Japan stuff always has trans characters. But they are usually in the background, they're not close to being the main character, and the show always makes fun of them, or at least they don't show them as being something perfect. The first problem with episode 5 is that the main character is very flustered and intimidated by the tranny. I mean, I understand that the main character has issues interacting with others and socializing, but it is clear that the anime tried their best to push the limits. For example, at the end of episode 5, the tranny asks him if he wants to go on a date. And then episode 6 shows him going on that date. Well, it's not actually a date because it's with a lot of people, but whatever. Anyway, it's clear that the tranny is teasing him. And because he is socially awkward, he doesn't know how to respond. And my question is why? We don't want this in an anime about fighting. Especially after we already know in season 1 that nobody cared about trannies. The main character was interested in girls and in fighting. And that's what the anime was about. And you can also say that it is a story about being outcasted and being socially awkward. Sure, but we barely got a story about the other characters, and somehow we got full episodes for the story of the tranny. So yeah, I tried to skip the story of the tranny, but you cannot skip it. The main character is almost non-existent, his friends are also non-existent, and we get new characters. And a lot of stuff about boys being interested in girl stuff. Tsubakino is the name of the tranny, and we see his life when he was a kid. Basically, the whole story is about him not being interested in boy stuff. He is not interested in sports, in cars, but he is interested in makeup, dresses. So my question is why? Why do we get a story like this for an anime that's about fighting? You know, an anime that has boy stuff. An anime for fans that want to see fighting, not makeup tutorials. Listen, when I was a kid, I was also not interested in football and other action stuff like that, or cars. That doesn't mean I was 100% disgusted by it, or that I was interested in girl stuff, but I was a social outcast. Because everybody wanted to talk about football, Counter-Strike and other stuff like that. While I was interested in anime, especially Sailor Moon, I also was interested in JRPGs. I tried a lot to interact with other people, but I found their stories very boring, because they mostly talk about their stuff, their football. My point is that this anime tries their best to show that somehow this guy was oppressed, even if we don't really see that. I mean, they don't show that he was bullied when he was a kid. Everybody was friendly. He just considered himself a victim because he was interested in girl stuff. For some reason, he says that he wants to be normal but doesn't give a reason why. And he cries that he looks good with lipstick? What? Saying that you think you look good because you use makeup is not something to brag about. That is basically the idea of makeup. You hide your real beauty to replace it with a fake one. I don't know why people like this talk about acceptance when they don't even accept themselves. I mean, it's okay to have imperfections. Or it's okay to not be exactly as you will want to be. But it's a talk about self-esteem, I understand we all have it. But oh my god, this anime is garbage. There is no reason to show that story. It doesn't make the tranny likable. It makes the story boring and the character annoying. And for episode 8 we get a new character, someone who sings. At first it seemed interesting, but the character is also very unlikable. And no, she is not a tranny, but her singing sucks. It has no soul, it sounds like it's made by AI or a big corporation. It is very generic. But whatever, we also get some fighting. I'm a little interested in the anime again. But we barely see the main character do anything, and his friends from Hyurin High School are barely present. Somehow our main character acts like he is already defeated even if he didn't fight. There's a lot of enemies, so I get it. But then the tranny comes, so the main character doesn't fight. The tranny also has two other guys, so their numbers doesn't change. But somehow they win. Not only that, but they say that those guys were mercenaries. And now they will give them all jobs. The biggest illusion that the anime is trying to tell is that being poor and an orphan is the same thing as being trans. More exactly, the bad guy says that you will never understand what it means to have nothing. And the tranny tries to make it about him. That he also doesn't know him and doesn't understand him. But we know, we saw his story. He wasn't bullied, he had people who supported him, he even had makeup and whatever he wanted. Compare that to the guy who didn't have food. Are you kidding me? Are you saying that somebody that may not be accepted by some normal people is the same as a kid that's an orphan, homeless, with no food, barely surviving? And this is why I have an issue with stuff like this. This is why I will never accept stuff like this. The tranny was scared to be different. Nothing bad happened to him. And I'm not saying that it's easy to be different in a world where everybody wants you to be just like them. But nothing awful happened to the tranny. He even had the old couple who supported him. So while the tranny was crying that he looks too good with makeup, the other guy was barely surviving. So this was the main reason that I hated season 2. A lot of unlikable characters, a lot of story that's mediocre, boring. This is exactly like the Last of Us TV show where we see the gay guys having a full episode. We want to see fights. That's what the show is about. And we would also want to see Sakura and Takibana interacting more. I 100% don't want to see LGBTQ stuff in my shows. And if a show has that stuff, at least tell me to know to avoid it. Because you're wasting my time. You may say that the title of my video is not accurate because it's nothing offensive, or it's slightly offensive. But by today's standards, it is. And that's my point.